What's up, guys? It's Mike here with another video. So tonight we got an NP249 transfer case and an NP231. This is the stock transfer case that came out of my 95 Jeep Grand Cherokee. This came out of a 98 Cherokee XJ. As you guys might know, the NP249 is 4-wheel all the time, neutral and then 4 low. It also has a viscous coupler that goes bad about 150,000 miles, and it's really expensive to replace. It's really just not a good choice for people that like to go off-roading. The 231 is a more desirable choice. A lot of people swap the 231 or the 242 Select Track into the ZJs. The 231 is 2-wheel drive, neutral, 4 high, partial, part-time, neutral, and 4 low, part-time. So there's a couple things you're going to want to look for when you're looking into swapping a transfer case. One of those things is going to be the back, the input shaft. You're going to want to make sure that this is a 23 spline, or you're just going to want to make sure you count the splines. Whatever spline count you have, you're going to need to look for a transfer case with that same spline count. This happens to be a 23 spline. So is the 231. They're both 23 splines. But in the back here, these input shafts, there's actually different lengths. There's 3 different lengths. There's a long one, a medium one, and a short one. This 249 has a long one, and this 231 kind of has like a shorter, medium-sized one. So today, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be tearing apart the 249 and getting that back shaft out, that 23 spline long input shaft out, and we're going to be swapping it into the 231. A lot of parts between these two cases are interchangeable, and that's one of the things that we're going to be able to do. We're going to be able to swap that in so that when we put this onto my transmission, it doesn't have any play issues and everything lines up correctly and the depth is good for the input shaft. So before we get started, I recommend draining both the transfer cases. For this transfer case, you can use a large adjustable. I don't know the exact size, but for the 231, it's a 10mm Allen head. Some of the tools you're going to need today is a 10mm socket, a 10mm 12 point, a 13, a 15, an inch and an eighth, a flathead, a large adjustable, some snap ring pliers, a pry bar, a dead blow, a 14mm wrench, and possibly a torch if your bolts decide to give you a hard time. So let's get started. You're also going to need a T25 Torx bit. Sorry about that. So what I'm going to start by doing, start by removing this speed sensor. It's also a good idea to get you 2 little trays if you're ripping both of them apart at the same time, just so you can keep track of all your bolts and everything like that. So this should come out pretty easy. You shouldn't have to force it. It's got a little O-ring on the end. It should just pop right out. Now on the 249s, the reason why I said you're going to need this T25 Torx is there's a plate. There's a plate up at the top right here. You need to use a Torx. Now this will give you access to a retaining clip in there that you're going to have to use those snap ring pliers to end up getting this tail housing off. And that's only for the 249. On the 231, you don't need to do that. Alright, so now that we got that off, as you can see, in there's a little retaining clip. So you're going to need to get that off to take this tail housing off, but let's get these bolts off first, and then I'll show you how to get that out. Some of these bolts are a different size. Some of them are a 15. Some of them are a 13. Whoever had this part last definitely tightened these up a little too much. Let's take this back. Alright, so now you're going to want to get your snap ring pliers. Something like that. And inside this tail cone is going to be that clip. I want to grab a dead blow hammer. Just loosen this up. There we go. So get it loosened up a little bit. Take these. So in there is the little snap ring, and you're just going to want to pry like that while wiggling this, and that cone should come right off. You can set that cone to the side. Start working on the rest of the unit. Alright, so this is your piece for the speedometer. Put that to the side. This is your pump. Oh, look, this wasn't even together. Alright, this is your piece for your pump. So now what we could start doing is start working on the rest of these bolts. Alright, so I got all those bolts out except for one. I left one in. Now what I'm going to do is flip this around. We're going to see if this bolt wants to be my friend or not. This nut, I should say. So this is an 1 1/8" socket, and that fits it. A little trick that I'm gonna do for this is I got a few bolts here. Bleepin' Jeep actually makes a tool for this. It makes it a lot easier. I don't have that tool right now. I'd love to get it though. But I'm gonna throw a few bolts in here like this. I'm gonna grab a little heat. Now there is a seal behind that nut. It's usually just RTB. You're gonna end up making a new one anyway, so just gonna hit it with a little heat. Pop this bolt off. There we go. I suggest either doing this while it's still in the car or getting that tool from Bleepin' Jeep. because sometimes you don't get as lucky as I just did. It doesn't come off that easy. Alright, pop this out. If you did use heat, don't forget that it's still hot. Put that in our little bin. This stuff out of the way. This should just pop right off. So there's that little seal I was talking about. It's really just RTV. Could leave it on there, but I'll take it off. Take that off, throw it in a little bucket, put that to the side. Alright, now we can flip this back around. I'm going to take this bolt back out. Alright, now every one of these transfer cases is going to have pry points on it. One's on this side. You'll see it's like perfectly made for a flathead screwdriver to get in there. There we go. There we go. Hear that RTV. Make sure you got some cardboard because it's going to leak. There we go. Slide this right off. Work it around there. And there you go. So you're going to set this to the side somewhere. Chain doesn't look too bad. So remember, we're in here for the input shaft in the back. So it's very simple how all this stuff comes apart. You're going to grab it right here, grab it right here. Boom. Set this to the side. It's easier if you keep all this stuff in order. Just put that back there. Just in case. Put this down there. Alright. Get this out of the way. So we are after the shaft back there. So what we're going to do now is actually we could pour some of this into a pan so we don't make a huge mess. Alright, good enough. So transfer case does have a magnet. That's what I just dropped in my pan over there. Magnet sits right in here. We're going to clean all this back up before we put it back together. But right now, I don't need this case for anything other than that input shaft. So you're going to get a nice big adjustable. Come over here. Wow, that's already loose. I'm going to take out our it's like a neutral safety switch type of thing. It tells you when you're in 4-wheel drive. It's like a detent. Over here. There's another one on the bottom. Right here. Got a spring in it with like a ball type of deal. I'll show you. Make sure you keep this all together. Now I can slide the shift fork out. When you're putting this back together, you want to make sure all these pads are in good shape. They're not cracked or worn down or anything. If they are, you're going to want to replace them. This is your planetary gear set. Nice little. It's actually cool to the back. Let's take this off. Put this rear seal off. It's been a while since I took one of these apart. Not too sure if there's a snap ring back here too. You always want to just double check stuff before you start manhandling stuff and breaking things. Four 10mm back here. Put the seal on. I'm gonna try my impact on. Be a little just pop this out. There we go. Look at all this RTV. Look at all that. Jesus. So yeah, there's another clip back here. It's by this bearing that you're gonna have to take off. And that whole assembly will come out. Can't believe that. One way to get it out. This is the piece that I need right here. I don't understand why that clip on top is giving me such a problem, but I'll leave some of that clip in there for you guys so you guys can see that sometimes not everything just goes very smooth with these kind of projects, but alright, so that's the piece that I need. So make sure that none of these teeth are damaged. This was a good working transfer case when I pulled it, so everything should be a-okay. But yeah, this is the piece that we need. So what we'll do is we'll put this one to the side and we'll start tearing into the 231, and we'll see about swapping this piece into the 231 so that we don't have any issues with alignment with the transmission. So let's get back to work. Alright, so now that we have the input shaft out of our 249 transfer case, we could start tearing down our 231 and get ready to swap them. Tear down of the 231, pretty similar to the 249, and when we're ready to swap the shafts, I'll get back with you. now that we have the 231 split apart, we're going to want to swap these input shafts. Take the 231 and pull your shifter mechanism out. Just make sure that all of the contact patches look in good shape. Make sure you keep all this stuff just how you pulled it out. Keep it just like that so it goes back in the same exact way. It's the easiest way to take stuff and put stuff back together. Ooh. So we'll take this over here. Alright, so the input shaft is down here, right there. It's the planetary gear set with the input shaft. It looks the same. It should just be a direct swap. So what we'll do is we'll take this back cover off, the back seal. Same thing we did to the 249. Take this back cover off. Get the snap ring out, and this shaft will just pop right out. This is a good time to check all your bearings in whatever transfer case you're going to end up using. Make sure all your bearings are good. While you got it apart, you might as well change them. They're very simple. Most of them are held in with the snap ring. Take that out, hit them out with like a dead blow, nice and easy, because the case is aluminum. So take that seal off. These seals also, when you put them back on, there's a little alley, like a galley for fluid, so you got to make sure that goes back on the right way. You always want to pay attention when you're taking this stuff apart. Alright, now we can take this snap ring off. Pop that snap ring off. Now we're going to tap this out. There you go. Grab a magnet. Alright. So there it is. So this is the input shaft that was in the transfer case. This is the one that we're going to be swapping into it so that everything lines up nice on the trans. Both of these parts are interchangeable. Most of the stuff in these cases are. But for reassembly, it's basically just how you took it apart. We'll put this in, we'll put the snap ring back in on the bearing. We'll drop our shift forks back in, make sure all the bearings are good inside and everything like that, and we'll reassemble it. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, subscribe.